Welcome to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Hey, that's me. Hi, and welcome to Positive Talk. Our show features the best positive stories and people from around the globe as we endeavor to answer the universal question of why am I here and what is my purpose? Understanding that can change everything, and knowing your greatness is fundamental to living your best life. So join us right now as together we work to create the adventure of our lifetime. And welcome, everybody, to another episode of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald and with friends, lots and lots and lots of friends. And before I do anything else, I have to do this. I have to say thank you to Reverend Stanley. He is somewhere. I don't know where, but he keeps emailing me and telling me that they listen to the show every day and that his team loves us and what we do, and he even uses some of the things that we talk about on his at the pulpit on Sundays. I don't know what that means, but I just wanted to say thank you if you're listening, Reverend Stanley. It's great to have you here, and we've got a great show for you today. We've got, first of all, my friend and colleague Holly Berry is here. Holly, how are you? Let's hope your internet connection holds.
Yes. Hi. Is it holding? Are we holding?
We're doing good, I think.
Excellent. Well, I want to tell Reverend Stan, thank you so much as well. And anytime him and his congregation are listening to your show live and I'm here, they can put questions and comments in the chat and I can get them prizes out of our prize bag because we have vouchers. We have a whole plethora of prizes, including trips and personal electronics and all kinds of good stuff, and restaurant vouchers, like all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah, hopefully they're in a place that, I don't know, has restaurants.
But it has to be live because I have to be here to be able to know, because I don't trust that you're going to tell me.
I don't trust that I'm going to remember.
Well, I'm so happy to be back. Thank you so much for letting me come hang out and play and have fun. Every 2 weeks, usually like the first and third Monday of the month, we bring Amy and Nancy, the Passionistas from the Passionistas Project.com, onto the show, and they feature a different Passionista every show, and we are about ready to meet a new one. Amy and Nancy, would you like to introduce us to this Passionista?
Oh, Amy is signaling to me. I guess that means I'm going to introduce Luz Nazario from Nadas Coquito. We're so excited to have her here. Luz is, we met several years ago and she's become a dear friend. And Luz is an educator. She's been educating in Miami for many years, and she's a wonderful educator. But like most educators, she has to supplement her income, and she was looking for a way to do that, and she decided to use her abuela's recipe and make a brand of coquito drinks that she has is marketing all over the place and working really hard to get out there. So we wanted to bring Luz on here so she can tell you about her fabulous product and the reason behind why she's doing it, which is beautiful. So hi, Luz, welcome.
Welcome, Luz. So nice to meet you and have you on Positive Talk Radio.
Hello, mi gente. Thank you for having me. This is Luz. I'm coming to you live from the beautiful, magical city of Miami, Florida. How's everyone doing today?
We're doing really good. Luz, I'm embarrassed to say that I ran a Mexican restaurant for a bunch of years, and I have no idea what it is that Nancy just said.
I was curious too. I've never heard of a drink called that. Like I saw coconuts on your website, but...
Well, what coquito is you're right along with coconuts. Coquito means small coconut in Spanish. And coquito is a drink from the island of Puerto Rico. And that's usually what we have in the holidays. So it's the same in the United States where they might have eggnog. We have coquito, which does not contain egg. And it's very similar to horchata. So you may have heard of that, Kevin, horchata. And no,
apparently my Mexican restaurant was Americanized. We didn't have those. We had margaritas. No. I know what that is. And Dos Equis.
Well, yeah, those are. I mean, they're unique in their kind, just like Coquito is, and it's uniquely Puerto Rican. It's from Puerto Rico.
Oh, very good. Very good. Well, thank you for being here. We really, really appreciate. How did now you're a teacher? What do you teach?
I teach English language arts reading, and I teach English to newly arrived students to the United States. And I do middle school.
Oh, very good. Maybe you could help
Yeah.
me with my English. That would be good.
Oh, you do well. You're doing well. But yeah, I've been teaching for 30 years.
When
I guess
did you
that's how
start?
long
You must have been a
Your
child.
bio for us is 25. So I guess we've known you for 5 years.
Yeah. Well, the
Okay.
thing is, I actually started teaching in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and then I moved to Philadelphia, where I continued teaching, and I got my master's degree, and I met my husband, and then we decided to move to Miami. So that was in 97 that we got married, and we moved down here. So yeah, I started teaching in 94. So I've been teaching for quite some time. I've seen so many changes.
How
Did
has it
you-
changed? What's changed the most for you?
Well, definitely this right here. We have more access to technology. Definitely the pandemic leveled that playing field. So, everyone had access to that. Also what we're learning or what we're teaching, the different ways, and especially, we have a lot of students that are neurodiverse, and learning all of that, because when I started, that was just having students that were autistic, having students that had different neurodiversities was just a whole different playing field, and it was also in another school, so they were not with the main student body. So that's definitely something that's changed, that I could tell you that's across the board.
Do they have all the students together?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yes. Well, at least out here in Miami-Dade County, because we are the third largest school district in the nation. So we have a lot of those students in our classroom. But then we do have small centers where if there's extreme situations, right? So if we have students that are really not making developmental gains, in terms that they could be 13 years old and they're just completely at a first grade level in all aspects of their life, right? So then that's a different facility, but we have students on the spectrum in our classroom, and it's really interesting to see how you see the differences, and you see how they actually, I find it interesting to see how they actually learn, and some of them I find them to be really dynamic. They're really great kids. I like them.
Well,
Did
I
you-
admire you. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Kevin. I didn't mean to. I was just going to ask if she started teaching middle school or if there's been different brackets of ages.
Well, when I started, I was in high school, and then I taught at the university level. Then I went to the middle school level. I've taught adults. The only ones I haven't teach are elementary, and those teachers are one of a kind, and I'm not that. I admit I am not that teacher. I'm not that teacher.
So I got to ask you, because I've been a while since I've been in school. Is there you taught at the college level, and then you went to the high school level, and now you're at middle school level.
Yes.
Have you noticed a difference in the attitudes and the makeup of the kids from the college level to the high school level to the middle school level? Has there been a lot of changes?
It's really interesting to see that. Yes, there are. I mean, there's still the same concerns. Am I fitting in? What am I going to do with when I graduate? Why am I even taking a college class when I really don't even want to do that? So you kind of see some of those same things carry on over the years. I think a lot of it where I've just seen where the drive has changed, right? So by law, middle school students, they need to be in school, So it's just basically the desire from what I've seen, the desire when they get to college. I don't want to stay here. Is there another way I can work around this? Or, you see those shifts where high school students, a lot of them, they want to do something. They just don't know what I want to do. They have so many ideas. And then I think going to college helps open that up. Middle school, especially sixth graders, you still see the elementary. Seventh grade is that really fun year where you see them like change. They start to morph from that sweet little child to that kind of obnoxious kid where you're saying like, I understand why certain animals eat their young. Like in seventh grade, you see that and you're like, ooh, baby, you're so lucky. God loves you and your mom loves you just the way you are. And then eighth grade, you're like, okay, you need to go to high school. And then in high school, they carry a little bit about that, but it's really interesting to see how they start to socially adjust. And then, kids that have been friends for a long time, high school sort of like separates that. And then college is also another ball game. But, because in middle school, they have to go to school, right? So they have to be there. And a lot of kids figure out by the time I'm 16, I don't have to finish school. I could do something else. And you see them actually go with that debate. And then, of course, you have when they get to college, you have the freshmen, and then you have some that took like that year off or they were in the military, and then they come back with a different perspective. And then a lot of them I've seen where they started and they wanted to do a degree, but they found out, I could do this in 18 months. I'm going that way. So it's just really interesting to see their decision-making process, how that goes.
Now, do they help with that decision-making more than they may have done in the past? And let me explain what I mean. Is that, it used to be when I was growing up or going to college and even my kids, a lot of it was you need to get your 4-year degree and you need to go to college and then you need to talk about your master's degree and yada, 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 and be in school for 4, 6, or 8 years. And they didn't really talk about trade school. They didn't talk about the arts of, being a mechanic and
Right.
an electrician and that kind of stuff. Is that changing at all?
That is.
They're
That
recognizing that college isn't for everybody.
No, they are. And you hear, I mean, as a matter of fact, I did a career day last year with my students, and I actually, I asked some of the kids, I said, what are some careers you'd like to see? I mean, because I can bring in a doctor, all those things. I actually had kids, can you bring a real estate agent in? And I'm like, why do you want a real estate agent? Because they only got to go to school for 18 years. I was like, I mean, 18 months, not 18 years, 18 months, correction, 18 months. I was like, and then I've had some ask me, do you know anybody that's young and have their own business? And I'm asking them, well, what is young to you? What do you imagine young? Yeah. In their 20s. So you see that they're already realizing there's like, I don't have to do the whole 4, all the way to doctorate degree, because that's what I did. I did the bachelor's, I did the master's because that's what mom said I had to do. I did my postgraduate work. I was about to do a doctorate and I was like, oh no, we're not doing that. I put a brakes on that. That's not happening. But definitely, I think what sealed that a lot, again, the pandemic, because they could get online and take these classes. And they learned how to leverage this so that then they have their digital business, their e-commerce. So a lot of that has changed. A lot of them realize, some of them have said, well, Miss, I'm going to get into landscaping. And I said, why are you going to get into landscaping? They make a lot of money. I said, really, who makes, is a landscaper that makes a lot of money? My uncle. I said, oh, okay. So they're seeing that these are lucrative businesses, that they can do it and that they don't necessarily have to take that path of 4 years and another 2, 4, and so forth. So yes, they are definitely discussing. And one thing that I've started bringing into the class is actually financial literacy. And I'm not, that's not my field, but just talking with them and my own experience, I'm thinking like, boy, I wish somebody would have told me about how to carry a budget.
I was just thinking that too. The only thing I got in high school, any of it through high school, was how to write the words, to write checks. And then we did one tiny project where we got to learn how to read stocks and follow the stocks and choose our stock if we invested in it, how much we'd make. And I got in trouble for choosing a latex company. I'm like, but it's gonna make money.
It's for the gloves. It's for the gloves.
Right. That's the only education I got, and it's so vitally important.
Yeah. And the thing is, they get online and they can find you. I mean, sometimes I'm like, how'd you find that? Oh, miss, look. I'm like, oh, okay. So they're seeing these other things. One of them wanted to be a physical trainer. And I said, well, how long does that take? Oh, it takes about 12 to 18 months. I said, oh, okay. And I could do this business and look at this person online. And I was like, okay. So I tell them, you do need the basics, though. You do need to know how to read. That you do need to know. You do need the math. You do need to know how to write. But one student said, but miss, there's ChatGPT. And I said, I did not hear that. I did not hear that. So we will pretend that was not even on the...
Yeah.
But I do stress to them, they need to know how to read.
I got a suggestion for you.
Yes.
When somebody says that, say, okay, does ChatGPT or whatever it's called teach you how to read a schematic?
Ooh, I like that.
And they'll go, what the hell is the schematic? It's like if you want to become like an engineer, you need to know how to read the blueprint of how that particular thing was put together. Because my son went and he did a diesel mechanic school, which was like 18 months. And now he's 36 and he's leaving the union hall today. He just got accepted. His wage is now doubled of what it was, and he's going to make every bit as much as a doctor without the school what is the school loans that
right the student
kids
loans
get stuck
with.
So and besides, it's a little self-serving. I would like to hire an electrician that's under 50 and doesn't cost $80 an hour.
It's true. That's the thing. It's like it's amazing that how they're starting. He's making more than I'm making, and I've been teaching 30 years. I don't even make like that. I don't touch his and I've been teaching for 30 years, and I have 2 degrees in postgraduate work and a leadership in my school and the district, and I'm not making that. So yeah.
Well, what's interesting about that is that he's now a crane mechanic. The high-rise cranes?
Yes.
There's no school to learn how to do that.
Wow.
I thought you had to be certified.
Yeah.
Well, you do.
Don't you have to be part of a union and certified? And
there's the classes that you have to go through in order. And he worked for a company that gave him those classes. They were not union, but now the company that he's going to work for is union. So now he qualifies. It's kind of like the Screen Actors Guild, and you guys know how that works.
Yeah.
Taft-Hartley, they call it when you get the job, and then they bring you into the union so that you can do the job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Good for him. That's great.
Kudos, man. That's awesome.
I'd like to circle back to something you just mentioned with ChatGPT. How do you deal? We were just having this conversation over dinner yesterday about how teachers deal with whether knowing their students are using ChatGPT. What do you do? Do you find that in the grades you're using now, working in now?
I'll tell you what, being that I have a lot of my students are low readers, so that they're like in the low 25%, plus they're the immigrant students. Yeah. And you kind of learn their style of writing, right? How they write. What they have not figured out about ChatGPT is how to train ChatGPT.
That's
right?
what I'm saying.
So when I get this beautiful, eloquent, well punctuated essay, I'm like, oh, baby, what happened? Oh, miss, I wrote it. I said, really? Who helped you? Some of them might say my sister or, my uncle. I said, oh, and how? And this might be bad. I said, especially if it's an immigrant student, I said, so how long has your uncle been in the United States? Oh, 5 years. I said, dang, that's awesome. I said, okay, now here's the other topic that goes with this, but you have to do this in class. This one you have to do in class. You have 2 hours to get this done. And it's just really the rewording of what the prompt was.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't know what I said. They have no idea what they're to write. And I said, Papi, where did you get this? Be honest with me. I got it online. I said, really? How did you get it online? Chat. And I said, chat's not your friend, because the one that you just wrote that I asked you to write for me was the same one that you just turned in. But you can't, and I told him, I said, that's why you need to practice a little bit more, baby. You need to practice a little bit more your English. And I'd rather have your original voice, your original messed up writing.
Mm-hmm.
So I have something to work with. This is perfect. But unfortunately, I got to give you an F. Miss, I did it. I said, yes, you did it. That's great. But you did it wrong. So, that's some of the things, because they haven't figured out how to train it. And of course, I'm not going to teach them how to train ChatGPT, because they just take it like, oh, miss, I did this great work. And I'm like, oh, look at you, baby. Look how beautiful. I'm like, oh, no, baby, sir. So, yeah.
Yeah. And they only do that once, I bet.
Yeah, they do it once, because I tell them, I said, yeah, that's not happening. So the thing is, to limit that, I don't give homework.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yes.
So
I don't want them to
everything is
take it.
written in class.
It's in class.
That's so
It's in
smart.
class.
And they are going, woohoo, I love this teacher. No homework. My goodness.
No homework. And then can I take it home? I said, no, it's okay. You can you have 2 more days to finish it. Oh, okay. So.
I got to ask you something. It's a little off topic, but not really.
Go ahead.
Because you work with a lot of immigrant kids and stuff. Is there, in your 30 years of teaching, has there been a difference in society, in your opinion, as far as how immigrants, when they come here, are treated and the things that they go through in life? Has that changed? I don't know.
Okay, so that goes based on which country they're coming from, what's happening in that country. Okay, so in Miami, we have a lot of Cuban immigrants, right? So you see that they over the past years, what I've noticed is a lot of people come. Yes, I want to work. I want a better life. I want to be able to, they want they want a good life. I'm not going to, that's great. But then you also have some that come along and they've been fed information from some other immigrants, that, well, the government has to take care of me. Right. And so sometimes you see that passed on to the kids where they feel entitled. And I was like, that's not the way that works. We all have to work. Right. So this is why I tell you, it depends on the country. Right. And then you do have some that come and their parents have really made it clear to them how much it's taken them to get here. And they realize the value of being here. Right. And I've had students tell me, referring to previously, oh, well, miss, you have to cut me slack because that's not my language. And of course, I talk to them in their language, especially in Spanish. And I tell them, I'm so sorry. That doesn't mean just because you're in the United States you can't work. You have to work. If you worked over there, you will have to work here to earn the grade. That's not, that doesn't change. And then you have, like I said, some that truly understand and appreciate why I'm here. Now, then you see what happens is what's happening socially over there in terms of the schools, because in some countries there are schools, but there's not school every day, right? So it might be 2-3 times a week. And so then they come here and they're like, oh, I got to come to school every day. And how long do I need to be in school? And
What?
and exactly. And then the thing is that even though they've gone to school, and if there's not a teacher that day, it they're not doing anything the whole day, right? So then a few years back, I don't know if you remember, when there were kids that were coming by themselves.
Yeah.
We had a few of those kids, and you see, I mean, they're kids. You see them as kids, but their whole demeanor, they're no longer kids, right? They're in survival mode. They're on the defensive. They because they had to be that way to cross. They don't know a lot of things. All right. So that at that point you're dealing with a lot of life skills. Like, okay, honey, you need to sit down and actually, make sure you have these things. So there was at one point where you actually, we're helping, like, here's a little bit of hand sanitizer, making sure they have some of these things, basic things, which impacts their learning, because then they realize how far behind they are and they get frustrated, right? And then now we have a lot of kids that are coming from Venezuela because of what's been going on. And you see that they have a desire to learn, and then some of them feel entitled because whatever, their social or whatever was over there, they're realizing like, oh, I don't have the same standing, right? They're wearing a new country, things are different, things work. So you see some of these kids that they're really, really, really trying to adjust. And then you have some like, let me take a shot. And those are actually some of the kids that'll take those risks that I'm like, all right, we need to change your risk taking to something like on the right side, because you'll actually make it if you do it the right way. So I don't know if that answers your question, but a lot of it, like I said, going back, has to do what's happening in that country, that when they come here, that whole, I don't know if assimilation would be the word, or the acclimatation, or, just. Did I answer your question?
Yes, ma'am, you did. And I got to tell you right here, I don't care what it is that you're getting paid to do your job, it ain't enough.
Thank you.
100%.
Thank you. Yeah. It's, they come with a lot of emotional baggage. There's really a lot that, they don't get to talk about, and you see them really, and it's sometimes scary because you see a baby face, but then you see this demeanor that they've had to be tough. And then trying to get them to understand, hey, you're a kid. You can be a kid again. That's sometimes it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. So what are some of the success stories? Like, who are a couple of kids that you've seen kind of come through?
Oh, Amy wants me to do that ugly cry thing I did with that.
Give me my Oprah moment, God damn it.
Well, no, I've had quite a few, and I was sharing with Amy and Nancy one that this little girl, she had came from Cuba, and she had came when she came, she was just trying to get used to everything that was going on. And so the interesting thing that I found out is that if they have television, and the program, they get sometimes shows from the United States. So they have this idea like school in the United States. So they come trying to find that whole, I don't know if preppy is the word, but that whole vibe, like American schools are so much fun and everybody's your friend and it's really exciting and we go to parties and so they have that idea. So she was one of those that she thought she could that she'd find that. And then at the end of the school year, the pandemic hit, and we kind of lost her because we all had to go online. And this is where you found out that not everybody has good Wi-Fi, right? So it's just by neighborhoods. Because I was telling Amy and Nancy, like, I live on this block here, and then like one block north is Coral Gables, which is a really, really nice area of Miami. And then like 3 blocks over is University of Miami. But my block doesn't have good internet, but theirs do. So sometimes I'd have to actually like go into that neighborhood in my car with a laptop to try to get a good signal. All right. And I mean, I live in a pretty good area, but anyway, but she was one of those kids that the internet, they just, there was so much stuff going on that it wasn't a priority for her to be in school. Okay. So when we come back in person, she had to repeat the year. And she was getting frustrated and she wasn't really making any progress. She's like, Miss, but I don't want to do this. So we're going back and forth. And I said, Isabella, Mama, you really need to try to make an effort. I don't want you to have to repeat this year. So she buckled down and she did pass. All right. Then the following year she came and she had a lot of things going on in her head, and then her self-esteem, and there were things going on at home, and she's like, I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it. And I said, Isa, Mama, stay after school. Let's see how I can help you. And I would try to help her, and she'd have her good days and her bad days. Then, oh Lord, her mom, oh, Amy, so the thing is that she has a sister that's autistic, right? So she was here with her mom and her stepdad. They're both from Cuba. And so, she was like on this roll, and she was having really a good day. The principal comes to my door and she says, Nazario, I need to speak with you. And I was like, oh Lord, the principal comes to my room. I'm like thinking, she's like, I need to take Isa with me, Isabella. I was like, oh no, what happened? And she's like, she got kind of emotional, and I'm thinking, oh Lord, what happened? Because this is where the thing where they would supposedly be coming to school and like picking up kids and this whole deportation thing. And I was really like, I probably gonna fight for my kids, y'all. I told my husband, be ready to pick me up just in case I was fighting for one of my kids. But what happened is her mom died. So I just said, Isa, the principal wants to see you. So she's thinking, what did I do now? I've been really good, miss. I said, Mama, no, it's okay. Don't worry. So she goes to the principal, and I happen to look out the window of my door, and she's just like, no. She's just having she's breaking down. She's just like, you're here. Why are you here? What happened? She's like, your dad's downstairs. No, not my mom. And I was like, so that was really heartbreaking. And I was like, oh my goodness gracious. So she didn't come to school for a few days. And so then the concern was, she didn't want to stay with her stepdad. And she's like, I don't want to stay with my aunt because my aunt doesn't like me. And so I'm talking, I said, Mama, you really need to show up. I understand this. So what do you need? She's like, I don't know what to do. So fine. She leaves for a bit. Then she comes back and she says, I'm going to make this work. I was like, what do you mean you're going to make this work? She says, I am going to make sure I pass this year because that's what my mom wanted. And somebody has to take care of my sister. Well, I lost my stuff, y'all, while I was like, I was crying. I was like, okay. She's like, don't cry, man. I was like, no, I'm fine. And then, of course, I was telling Amy and Nancy, and I'm crying. I was like, having this ugly cry moment. But the thing is, she turned around. So she was turned around student of the year. And I was so proud of her. And I hugged her up. And I said, you see, because she's like, I knew, miss. I said, and I did this for my mom. And it was just, wow. It was just one of those moments that I really thought, like, it's like almost like, Kevin, we were talking about vocational workers. And it was like, at one point, I got so frustrated with her. I said, we just need people to cut others' grass or pick up the garbage. And because I was so down, I was frustrated with her. But, you know, unfortunately, that issue had to happen. You know, talk about you grow up really fast. And I have to, like, it just, I don't know what was it, but, you know, something like that. I was like, oh. So, by the way, Amy and Nancy, she's doing very well.
Good. That was
She's
good.
a junior. She's a junior in high school. So she's
Good.
doing very well. So,
Good.
yes.
Okay, that is awesome. I wanted to ask you because you've been teaching for a long time, but you're also doing the beverages on the side, or explain what you're doing there. And number one, do you do it because you love it, or do you do it because you're not getting paid what you should be paid? Because I'm going to go down, and Mr. DeSantis and I are going to have a conversation
Oh,
about
please
how he
do.
should be running his state.
Please do. Please do. If you find him, let me know because we don't know where he's at now. Hold on 1 minute. I'll see you back. Listen, it was December 2016. I want you to hold that year very key because there was a lot of things going on. Okay? Bye. 2016, it was December 2016, Christmas. There was like more months than there was money. Now, hold on to that because I'm a person, I like to make things. I like to repurpose things, recycle things. I have all these ideas. I do little doohickeys and stuff like that. I make stuff like that. And I was always trying new recipes. So what happened that December, like I said, there's more December than there was cash, and we had to solve a problem. So my husband and I were going back and forth, you know, what are we going to do? And I said, well, you know, I have all these glass jars, you know, like different sizes and things like that. And I'm thinking, well, maybe I could make cookies or maybe I could do this. And I saw I had the ingredients for coquito. Now, remember, coquito means little coconut. Now, the drink in Puerto Rico is made during the holidays. And it does have the regular recipe. Remember that. The regular recipe is made with evaporated milk, condensed milk, and coconut cream.
Okay.
Cream of coconut. And whatever alcohol, most likely rum, you can you use, and that's it, right? So I did have those ingredients, and I said, you know what, I'm going to make some coquito, and let me see, I have the bottles. I said, okay, I have all the ingredients, I'll make some coquito. So I made coquito. I had the glass bottles, different sizes, you know, like there's like 5-7 bottles. And so I called up some friends and I said, listen, I have this situation and I made some coquito. Would you like to buy a bottle of coquito? They're like, sure. I said, how much would you pay? And they started giving me different prices. And I took whatever they were offering. So I was like, okay, perfect. So that was December 2016. So we got through the month. And the next year, somebody asked me, hey, are you making coquito again? And I was like, I hadn't thought about it. Oh, I'll buy a bottle from you. I said, oh, sure. Tell your friends I'll make a bottle too if they want. And so it all started that way. Then when the pandemic hits 2020, in December, I already had orders lined up and I was like, yes, this is rolling in. Oh, wait, before that, I decided to change the recipe, right? So abuela means grandmother. So I was using my grandmother's recipe the first time. And I said, you know what, let me try something different. And I tweaked it. So I made it dairy-free, egg-free, gluten-free, vegan-friendly, which is the recipe we have today. So I'm excited to have all these orders. I got COVID. Now, I have a small house, a small home. So I really couldn't quarantine. So I literally, actually, I got the test. I was told I had to go into quarantine. And if I didn't have a place to quarantine, I had to go to one of the quarantine hotels. And I was like, oh, man, I'm going to have to leave my house. So, you know, I'm making arrangements. I was like, oh, dag, I have all these orders. I was like, I'll deal with it when I come back. So I'm in the hotel and I got really depressed and I reached out to my mom, to my sister, to my friends. And I I'm a strong believer in prayer. The power of prayer is amazing. So Pastor, whoever wants you to know, I'm a praying woman. I believe in the power of prayer. And I told them, I said, listen, I need prayer. I need everybody to pray for me because this is what's going on. And I'm not at my house. And I have not taught my family how to make this recipe. And I have these orders. And I need to get better really fast. And at the same time, I took my laptop. So I was in quarantine teaching. And I was sick. And it was scary because if something happened to me while I was in quarantine and they had to call 911, all my family would get was a call. Right. So, and I'm sharing this with them because nobody really knew anything of what was, how you deal with this. And so the prayer was, I need to be healthy. My lungs need to be good. I need to be able to teach. I need to find a way to get these orders. I need to do all of this. And, every day I would listen. I had my devotional. I listened to praise and worship music. And I was like, God, you said no weapon formed against me shall prosper. So you made a promise that you will not cause me harm and you'll provide me a future. And I need you to do that because I'm calling on you and you need to show up. So, that was my whole thing. I'm going to move and talk. And that's how we did that. So my husband was really scared because my husband, his gift is that he's a protector. So he got it, and then my son got it. My daughter was the only one who had not gotten COVID, and he's like, listen, I have a friend that's cardiovascular doctor, and he's gonna put us on the list for the infusion. Right. So that trial, I can't even remember the name of it anyway. And he says he's going to put us on the list, but you need to be able to, as soon as we get approved, it's in Orlando. And we're 4 hours away from Orlando. And so I said, okay. So I called my principal. I said, listen, this is what's going on. The monoclonal, that's what it is. I called my principal. I said, this is what's going on, and I might need to duck out of class. And she's like, oh. And so then I called my department chair, and I said, listen, this is what I'm doing. So you need to be online in this class just in case. I started teaching at 8 o'clock. No, lie. I started teaching at 9. I had everything in place in case I needed to go. Because the thing is, if I left the hotel, I cannot come back. Right? So at this point, my concern was we need to get my daughter out of the house. So a friend of ours needed a house sitter, so that worked out great. So she was there. And my son did not meet the criteria to get the infusion. So we're like, okay. So at 9 o'clock, I signed on. My husband texts me at 9:05. He says, we just got approved. We need to go now. So I'm like in the hotel room with the computer moving around, and they're like, Miss, what's going on? I said, don't worry, baby, I'll be fine. Listen, Miss so-and-so is going to take the class. And I shut down and I packed up everything. And so as I'm walking out through the lobby, they said, you can't come back. And I said, it's been great. Thank you very much. But I need to be for this infusion in 4 hours. And the nurse, all they had was a nurse that would come like in the morning, and she said, but I haven't taken your temperature. I said, I'm fine. I didn't have my sense of smell or my sense of taste. And I was like, what the heck? Anyway, so we drive up to Orlando, 4 hours. We only stopped once to pee. If anybody knows anything, I-4 is terrible. I don't know what road is similar to that in California, but it was terrible. We had to be there by 1 o'clock. We got there exactly at 1. Whew. And the thing is, if we would have been late, what happens is they have to take it out and have it thaw. So if you don't show up, they've wasted. It's not like they could put it back in the freezer. So we got there, and at this time, I'm like texting, I'm telling people that had the orders, I had an emergency. Your order will, as soon as it gets off, they're like, no, thank God. All of them were like, no, I didn't tell them I had COVID. I just said, listen, I have this emergency, and I'm going to, please forgive me. I put it on hold. They're like, no, that's fine. Don't worry. Let us know. Everybody was understanding. I was like, oh, Lord. And then the thing is, they hook us up for the infusion, and I'm done, and I'm starting to feel better. My husband gets a fever of 104.
Ooh,
and I'm freaking out because we're there by ourselves, right? And the thing is, you're in this room, and they're like all medevaced. They have like their spacesuit and everything, and I'm like, and he starts to worry, and I'm like, well, how do we bring this fever down? Well, what happened was he was dehydrated because we were trying to get there on time, and we only stopped once.
Yeah.
And they're like, if he does not go, we have to put him in the hospital. I said, no, you're not putting him in the hospital. You are not putting him in the hospital. And I'm like, you better drink this water. I'm like, put a whole bunch of, you need to put ice packs on him. You need to do something. And my husband's a huge guy. You guys kind of saw him pass by here. And I'm freaking out because, like, who's going to take care of us? And he's like, I'll be fine. So thank God they got his temperature down to 100. And they're like, okay, we can let him go, but we're going to be calling you throughout the night. So, that was the whole thing. Okay, everything worked. We drove back. I was able to get the orders going because part of the prayer, when I was talking with these ladies, I said, listen, Nedas cannot die. She needs to live. Because I had turned 50, and I sort of got like that second wind people talk about, that when they turn 50, they're like, ooh, girl, I got power. I'm ready to go. Well, that's what it was. And I said, we're going to make this happen. So when I got back here, I started calling people. I started making sure my daughter was helping me. My son was helping. We're packing. We're shipping. We're doing everything. I was wiping everything down with a Lysol wipe, wrapping it up, spraying it with Lysol, just because I was like, God forbid somebody got an order. Like, I got COVID from Coquito. I was like, oh, no. But then I got then it worked out, and I got an interview from someone that they wanted to. They're like, hey, we were told about your Coquito. And I was like, yes. I was like, thank you, Jesus. Yes. So, that's what happened. And she's just been growing. And then I don't know if you guys remember that lovely app called Clubhouse.
I've heard of it.
You've heard of it? Yeah. Okay. So the thing is, I got into Clubhouse because there was only networking online. And one of the ladies, Danais Canaverino, who we all love and know, she was on this app. And I said, I need to get in there. And so she's like, well, there's a waitlisted. I said, I don't want to be waitlisted. She says, you got to be waitlisted. I was like, dang. I said, girl, don't you have any pull? So finally she gets me an invite. And Kevin and Holly, that's where it went to the next level. That's where my business went to the next level. Now, I went to school for what? I went to school for education. All right. So in Clubhouse, I learned about networking. I learned about running a business. What's the difference? What's an LLC? I learned about, KPI. I learned about this. I learned about shipping. I learned about evergreen. I learned about a pitch, which right now I'm not doing really good on my pitch because I'm really going long. But anyway, so that's the thing, is that with Clubhouse and networking, and then meeting Amy and Nancy and our lovely Julie DeLuca Collin, that is what's helping us grow. Because another thing was, my daughter asked me, Mom, what do you want for Christmas? And Julie had just made the one time she's ever made a Black Friday offer. And Julie was offering coaching classes. And I said, I want that. She's doing that. And my daughter kept asking, are you sure you want that? You don't want something else? I said, no, I want to learn how to run a business. I need coaching because I don't know anything. She said, okay. So my daughter paid for to level up, and here we are.
Amazing.
Congratulations. By the way, I'm still looking. What is this you called it? A 50 energy boost? I'm still waiting for that.
I know. I wanted to hear more about that too.
It's really
We'll have to have Luce back.
Well, the thing is, I'll tell you what, because of that, I have all these other multiple streams that I'm starting to like get into. I'm like, okay, that. So yeah.
Well, very good. By the way, we've been talking with Nancy. Pronounce her name properly.
Me? I'm
Luz-
Luz Nazario
Yeah.
from Miami, Florida, mi gente. And I got las hermanas. I call them las hermanas, Amy and Nancy, which is basically how we're here.
Yep.
Mhm.
One big sisterhood.
Yes, big sister. Yeah, this
One
is
big
the
sisterhood in
sisterhood.
heaven.
This is it, Kevin. I mean, we are there in LA,
The
and I'm
sisterhood
in the
and
south.
me.
Yes, I'm in the south of the nation. So imagine, who would have thought I would have never met Amy and Nancy.
We just need someone in Maine because then we'd have all four corners.
There you go. Yes.
We got it. We got it covered. We'll bring them next time.
Exactly. By the way, we're going to need to wrap this one up, but I want to thank you all for being here. And I don't know, we've done it all kinds of different ways. Well, first of all, Holly, I want to thank you again for putting this all together and to bring us some really great stories and some wonderful human beings. And so we'll begin with the wonderful Holly Berry.
Thank you so much, awesome listeners. Again, every 2 weeks, the first Monday and third Monday, we have Amy, Nancy, the Passionistas come and visit us and teach us new and amazing things. So stay tuned.
Okay, who's next? Amy?
I'll go next. First of all, thank you, Luce. That was amazing. Always love hearing your stories. I would like to invite you all to join us next in 2 weeks because we have a special. And Kevin, you're going to have to brace yourself.
Isn't it? It's 4 weeks, right? We're skipping the next one.
That's right. We're not going to be here on Labor Day. We're taking Labor Day off.
Right.
September
rude.
16th. Yeah.
So September 16th, Kevin, brace yourself because you're going to have three
my
Harrington sisters.
Oh,
We're bringing our sister Beth, the filmmaker extraordinaire.
That's going to be an OP show.
yeah.
So be prepared. That's all I can say about that.
Looking forward to that. You guys you're always a lot of fun. So
It's going to be a good one.
it's great. But how could you possibly take Labor Day off? Don't you know that that's a holiday to work?
No.
No?
I think you're hearing it backwards.
We're
I
working
get that a
on
lot.
relaxing. We're working on taking it off.
There you go.
There
It's work for me to take a day off.
Yeah.
a lot of effort.
Nancy?
All right, I'll go next. I would like to plug the sisterhood. If you'd like to be part of the Passionistas Project Sisterhood, go to thepassionistasproject.com/positive talk. We have a coupon code there for you to save a little money on the membership, but there's also a free level that's really great too. So please join us.
I got the biggest kick out of you guys when last time that you were here and you said, we've got a whole bunch of new members. I wonder why you've got a whole bunch of new members. It's because you're on Positive Talk. That's why.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely.
So, and young lady whose name I cannot pronounce, nor will I ever be able to. I can only
Yes,
say
you will.
Passionistas.
You
I see
will.
the
You will. Luz, it means light in Spanish, right? So luz, like lose weight. Nazario. I am Luz Nazario. It's been a pleasure. I want to thank the hermanas for cooking us up. I mean, like bringing us together, connecting us. And mi gente, I speak Spanglish, I speak English, I speak Spanish, and there's such thing as Spanglish, which is, a mixture of Spanish and English. So you may have heard me saying some things in Spanish. That's just my vibe. And I love telling stories, but definitely, Neda's coquito no es de abuela. It's not from grandma's recipe, so it's dairy-free, egg-free, gluten-free, vegan-friendly. We have alcohol version. We have alcohol-free version. And this month, our flavor is soursop, guanábana. All my flavors are flavors from Puerto Rico. Definitely hit me up on Instagram, Nedas, Nedas, Coquito, Coquito. I'm on Instagram. I will respond to you. And I want you to make sure that you follow the sisters, Las Hermanas, because we got some more stuff coming up, because Coquito season starts. Listen, Kevin and Holly, and people, it starts officially in October. Puerto Rico has the longest Christmas. We finish at the end of January. We start early and we keep going. We have party vibes. So make sure that you stay tuned. Make sure you follow me. Make sure you know. And Kevin and Holly, talking about that extra 50, that charge, stories. I'm going into sharing my stories. So if you want more stories, I'm right here. I love to share stories. I consider that part of my purpose in life, to share my stories, to help other people, encourage people, and to create community, because my love language is act of service, and sharing stories is my service to enlightening, encouraging you. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Oh, Amy and Nancy, you bring us the coolest people. I
tell you, right? I am demure and mindful. So you see, that's why you needed me here today.
and a teacher and all kinds of different stuff. Congratulations on everything that you're doing. And Holly, I'm going to let you take us out today.
Yeah, we are Positive Talk Radio, and you can find our full library at positivetalkradio.net. And until the next show, which shouldn't be very long, we do multiple shows a week. We hope you be kind to one another, because each other is all we've got.
Matter of fact, I'm doing another show in... Oops, I'm 3 minutes late. Got to run, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Our purpose is to provide everyone with a positive, entertaining, and educational experience. I would love your feedback and comments about the show, including possible topics and great guest suggestions. Please email me at kevin@kmmedia.pro. And remember, be kind to one another, because each other's all we've got. That's Kevin@kmmedia.pro.